he was actually in for, he actually had an episode of rapid onset of delusions. And he was really, really way out of it and had gone completely rigid. Called an ambulance and we took him up to the hospital. And we got there and there were, sort of finished up with 2 diagnoses with 1 medical team, and then we went on and on and on. So he had, in the period that he was there, in 6 days, he had 6 different medical teams look at him. He had 6 bed moves, some of them 2 in the same day. And he was completely disorientated. That didn't help the fact that it was one of those new hospitals where every room is different. And that would be something that I would absolutely ban an architect, because that is mostly, if anybody's ever worked in a place like that, it's difficult to work in, because every time you go to work uncovered, it's in the wrong place. You need to be able to have some kind of certainty to be able to work in one. And when you're trying to find out where to put your clothes, it's a nightmare. One place that was under the window seat, the other one you get covered. He then moved to the next hospital, and at that hospital he just got that quiet, calm atmosphere that he really needed. Now this is another one of my very pet peeves, and that's recognising and responding to pain. And I was very interested to hear Professor Picker say today that, with restlessness, do a trial of analgesia. I thought it was a clever idea, because that was one of the issues that I found most difficult to be able to convey to people. There was, in the case of one of my brothers, there was no pain scale operating at all. This is one who had severe pain, chronic pain, in his right shoulder here. He was suffering the architect of shingles, and he had been admitted for a completely different diagnosis. But those issues, and acute, chronic and irreparable valvular heart disease, and also CCFD. I'd just like to suggest one. Could I just go back for a second? Touch that. So we need to make sure that there is a good response to pain. That doesn't always happen, and that sometimes because people are busy, sometimes because information is passed on. But I don't think there is any excuse not to be checking people. And certainly in this particular case, one of the issues was that I sort of said that the next of kin may not be the carer. I was a carer. My brother was living with me, all his medical appointments, supervised all of his medications. His next of kin was his daughter, who saw him once a week for 2 hours, and that was the contact that she had with him. Although I tried to explain this over and over to medical staff, they completely ignored that, and they said, what we need to do, are you the next of kin, was the question every time. Clearly I was not. I said I was not the next of kin, but because I was the carer, I said, I've been very important. I know him. I know him better than his daughter, because he stayed with me at the time. He had given me a lot, and I knew him, and I knew that he did not complain about nothing. So that was not done. We eventually did get some response, but it was too little and too late. On the other hand, my husband was in hospital with a hot and swollen knee. I regard him as restless. I had a look. I actually put my hand on the blanket, felt the heat, felt his swollen knee. Had a look. His hot and swollen. Pointed that out to the nursing staff. We got the analgesia very quickly. So I would say that way. Because my brother's shoulder pain wasn't a reason, wasn't easily recognised, was not completely well noted, and his shingles episode, partial episode, was completely ignored. And the medications that he was being given for both of those things In one case, the spat ran out, so that was the end of that. They didn't give him any more. This was really just not a very good outcome for him. I did actually write a letter of complaint at the end of that case. I said, yeah, no, we did make some mistakes, but we're going to fix it all up, and because we're going to make sure that the graduate nurses have a pain relief day. One about meditation, one about recognising pain. And it wasn't where the problem was. He had recognised he had experienced nurses who were simply not being made aware of that. And the doctors were completely ignoring those. So I know that you've probably all heard of love helicopter noise. Well, I'm definitely a helicopter carer. Hopefully that what we need to do is to acknowledge the speech. But all treatment should be reviewed with previous treatment in mind and the reason for those. The brother I was talking about had multiple admissions to several hospitals, just the way it works. And each time with a different presenting diagnosis. So that made it difficult as well. But nobody was listening to me when I was trying to explain that all of these medications were there for a reason. And the other thing is that you need to make sure that you keep the carer informed. Sometimes it's easier for people to explain to somebody, what's happening. Nurses have a way of communicating stuff, and that's great, and so do the doctors. But sometimes the carer can say something like, this was the same as what your mum had, or whatever, and they can relate to something that is theirs. So the helicopter carer is going to do a good job. And we just need to know, that to keep you all informed. And the other thing is that let us know about what's happening with discharge. Even when the dementia is quite in its early stages, let people know anyway. And also check that information that you're getting from the patient is correct. Sometimes they miss stuff out. And instead of just sitting back and just taking everything for granted, just do a check, because people can forget things. Even people who don't have any cognitive impairment can forget to report on stuff. Remember another time I took my mother-in-law took her to the doctor because she'd fallen over, clearly broken wrist. Local GP had an X-ray machine in the room, so we just had a little look there. Took the X-ray, said, no, that needs to go to somewhere where they can do something more than I can do here. Gave her a shot of peptidine and sent her off. At the emergency department, I wasn't allowed in. I was excluded from there while she was taken care of. Now, she presented well, provided the conversation was about the weather. And so she would always start every conversation. Wonderful weather we're having, isn't it? Everybody can respond to that, because usually this funny old weather we're having, there's always a little bit of variation. So she looked okay, but in fact, she completely overlooked the fact that she had a peptidine. So she was saying, no, it doesn't hurt. No, it's not too bad. Probably wasn't half an hour after peptidine, an hour or whatever. So just do check with a carer, because we do have a role to play, and we are very, very committed to people that we care about. And that's about it. About communication is that it's really, really important to get the name right. Now, this is one going to embarrass Jason by saying that he pronounced my surname incorrectly, but he did. It's actually Symonds. Now, I know that that's not the way everybody pronounces it, and that's not important, except that when my husband became the nursing home, somebody came in with his meal tray when he was first there and said, Simon Murray? And I looked at him, and I said, it's Murray Symonds. That was on his little name tag.
Murray Symonds, the same as Murray Street, the same as the Murray River, the Murray Darling River, all of those things.
And the last time I saw that same picture, she was the same Murray. So,
Thank you.